Hello, 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 all of our viewers. Hopefully, there's more than 20 of you out there at this time. Welcome to another edition of Whiskey Wednesdays with your co hosts, Eddie Jenkins and Langley Thomas. Eddie, how we doing today?
Langley, we're good, dude. We're good. Been a couple weeks since we've gotten together, but excited. A lot's been going on these last couple weeks for us, so I'm looking forward to jumping into this.
That is true. That is true. We've had a little bit of a hiatus here, both been busy, but we're back to it. Should have a juicy little podcast here for you guys. So, Ed, in this little 2 week or so hiatus, what's been new with you?
Dude, been really busy. Last couple weekends, been running around. So 2 weekends ago, I ended up doing a 36-hour power trip to Phoenix for the waste management and the Super Bowl. Then this past weekend, I was in Bucknell to watch my sister play volleyball. Then I went to DC to watch my buddy Paul play in the XFL, the Seattle Sea Dragons versus the DC Defenders. So it's
Wow.
been a lot of running around. The waste management trip was very impromptu. Decided on the Tuesday before. Um, so like I don't know, 3 days before that I needed to fly down because as you know, the waste management golf tournament is in Phoenix every year, the same weekend as the Super Bowl. And then the Super Bowl was in Phoenix this year. So it was just like a conglomeration of what seemed like everyone in sports all coming together in one place, and I was just watching YouTube videos thinking like, man, I need to be there right now. And so I booked a flight for Friday at 5 and came back at Sunday at 6 a.m.
Wow. And you're like, so I need to be here, so I made it happen. That's insane. All right, so tell me, everyone, well, not everyone, I should say, most sports fans at this point know about the waste management tournament. Tell me a little bit about that. I saw there was a dude streaking on the 17th hole this year, which was pretty funny. Did you get to catch that in live action, or how was the experience?
I didn't see that in live action, but when I saw that like on social media, I knew that I was gonna be at the right place and I had made the right decision to buy my plane tickets down there. But the waste management, for anyone who's unfamiliar with it, is basically the rowdiest golf tournament on the PGA Tour. As we all know, golf's kind of like a country club sport where you got to be quiet, you can't be too loud. But this tournament just basically flips that on its head. Like drinking is encouraged, yelling, screaming is all encouraged, um, cheering, booing, the whole 9 yards. And what they do on their most famous hole, the 16th, it's a par three. They enclose it in a stadium. So they build up like bleachers and like suites around it. So it gets really loud. The people just go crazy. That's where the streaker began. Was he jumped out of the suite on 16, ran around 16, out of the stadium, up 17, onto the green, into the water between 17 and 18. Um, and so what really made me want to go was last year there was a hole in one on 16 and everyone was throwing their beers and going crazy and they had to clean up like the whole course and it was electric. And so that kind of put it on my like bucket list of sports items. And then I was able to get down there this year.
Man, that's awesome. That is awesome right there. And so, did you stay for any of the Super Bowl festivities? Did you catch out any of that while you were in Arizona, or was it
Um,
the waste management?
so the Super Bowl festivities I took part in were mostly just like going out and seeing people. So like I got into Phoenix on Friday night at
Okay.
5 p.m. and I mean I left it Sunday at 6 a.m. So like I wasn't there for the Super Bowl at all. But like Friday night, we went to the casino and the first person I saw when I walked in was Shador Sanders, who's Dion's son. Um,
Super cool. Super
gonna be
cool.
he had like a film crew following him. So he was the first person. The second person I saw was Mike Vrabel, the head coach of the Tennessee Titans, um,
Dang.
who I also saw. So I saw Vrabel again on Saturday at the Waste Management. He was like walking by. I was in line to get a drink, and the guy in front of me had like a bottle of water in his hand. Vrabel accidentally knocked the bottle of water out of the guy's hand, and he like reached down and picked it up and said like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, like so really sorry about that," and then just like kept going. And I turned to the guy in front of me and go like, "Dude, you just got strip sacked by Mike Vrabel."
That's
uh,
classic. Damn.
yeah. So, oh, dude, then at the casino Friday night, we saw Offset. Like he just walked in with a big group of people.
Really? Wait,
Um,
at the casino? What do you mean?
at the casino. Yeah, he just walked into the casino with a big group of people.
Can you gamble in Arizona?
Yeah, at the Talking Stick um resort. I think it's what it's called. They have a big casino there.
Interesting. Okay, did not know that. Did not know that. Very cool. What was Offset
Yeah.
like? Did you have any interaction with him?
I like got pretty close to him when I walked by, but other than that, he just walked like right to the crap stable. And we were just taking pictures of him basically. Um, so that was Friday night. Oh, I saw Emmett Smith too. Gave him a what's up, Emmett. Um,
Nice.
so that was
Wow, that
Friday
sounds amazing.
night. Dude, it was like I said, it was just it was the mecca of the sports world, basically, you know. Um,
No, for
so
sure.
like then so Saturday was the golf day. Like I knew the whole time, like okay, I bought a general admission ticket to the golf just to walk around, which doesn't get you access to the stadium on 16. But on Saturday, I got a call from my friend, and she just that morning had gotten two wristbands to the stadium, which were retailing for like $3,000. And her company had got her two wristbands. They had a couple extras. And so she got me into the stadium, which is like I said, where you want to be, and it's all you can
What?
eat, all you can drink. And in there, dude, in there we saw Chris Paul. Like, we were brushing shoulders with him. Um, like Dave Portnoy, a bunch of like Barstool people.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
so
That's
it was
so
like,
awesome.
yeah. So like, I was a little worried going down. I was like, I'm spending so much money. Like, I'm buying flights. I got an Airbnb. Like, this is so expensive. But then like, I came into these tickets and it was just incredible. And I was there on Saturday. It's
Mhm.
75 degrees. It's beautiful weather in Arizona. Like, I'm watching the golf. I'm a huge golf fan, and I was like, this is where I want to be. The money doesn't matter. This is
Yeah.
where I want to be. I'm so happy I did this. But then when I was on the plane coming back on Sunday at 6 a.m. and I hadn't slept that night because I didn't want to miss my flight, and I'm falling asleep and I'm exhausted and I'm just like totally out of it, then I kind of realized the idiocy of my plan. Um, but all in all, it was very worth it, and I'm very very happy I did it.
When you were falling asleep on the flight, you're like, "Yeah," when you had the after effects, you're like, "Ugh, maybe now this wasn't a great idea."
Yeah, not even on the
All the
flight, but
alcohol and
literally
black.
like in the Uber on the way to the airport, and then sitting at the gate where it's like I don't want to miss my flight, and I'm just like I can't even keep my head up. That's when I kind of realized that maybe a normal person would stay for a little longer than 36 hours. Um, but likely, we're 25. This is the time you do this kind of stuff.
You can make it happen. Exactly. You're young.
Exactly. Yeah.
Dang.
Langley might have lost you there. You're frozen. You were frozen there, Langley.
Oh, sorry about that. I said, were you still drunk when you got in the Uber on Sunday morning?
Yeah, I mean, I was just like exhausted. I powered through. I think I fell asleep for like 15 minutes trying to stay up all the way. Luckily, I made my flight because I've missed early flights like that before.
Mhm.
Um, so I really was trying to make sure I didn't miss it. But I got back in time for the Super Bowl. Watched the Super Bowl in New York. Um, so it all worked out, but it took a couple days to recover after getting back.
Damn, that's hilarious. Ah, that's so awesome. I'm jealous that you were able to do that. It's also very funny watching you talk about going to the casino and partying with the Ash Wednesday on your forehead.
Yeah,
Shout
gather
out
up.
to Jesus at the casino.
Hey, made it back. I got back to New York at like 4 o'clock that Sunday before the Super Bowl. There was a 5 o'clock mass right before the Super Bowl, so I was able to get to that, get back in time. So you gotta be able to do it both, Langley. If you're gonna run with the Wolves, you gotta be able to
That's true.
to you
Gonna
gotta be
get the
able to.
sins forgiven immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Lord, forgive me for my sins.
That's funny. That's funny. All right, I gotta ask. So, for anyone listening or watching, Ed and I both went to college in Philly. And speaking of the Super Bowl, It was a kind of a classic, kind of a classic. The ending had a little bit of some scrutiny from certain people. Ed, what did you think about the Super Bowl? I know you're a Steelers fan, but still a crazy game to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I was pulling for the Birds just because of us going to school in Philly. Obviously, our good friend Jake's dad works for them. So like, want to pull for them.
His
Um,
official title, Jake's dad.
yeah,
President of the
uh,
Philadelphia Eagles, Jake's dad.
I wasn't gonna name drop him.
Yeah,
But
no, no, no.
yeah,
I feel you.
yeah.
I feel you.
Um, so I was rooting for them. But Lang, I know you're a tried and true Eagles fan. So how you feeling about it?
Dude, it was crazy. I was joking with my dad. I'm like, this was, I think, because going back to our freshman year, 6 years ago. So 6 years now being an Eagles fan, since moving to Philly in 2016. I was like, I feel like this is my kind of like initiation into birddom in a way. Cause I'm like, this is like, I've watched them lose before. I watched them win one Super Bowl. But I'm like, this was the first, like, wow, that was a shitty loss, like in a
Mhm.
big moment, in a big game too, to have to go through. But I was definitely pissed. I watched it with a couple of our college buddies down in Hawaii, which I'll get to in a little bit because we were down there on vacation. And yeah, the first definitely like 15, 20, 30 minutes afterwards, we were all pissed and we're just like, oh, that was such like, bullshit holding call. Like, I can't believe like the game ended that way. But all in all, I mean, it was a great game. And I don't think I'll just get right to the point at the end there. I don't think they made the wrong call, but I think as fans, we were kind of like robbed of a all-time like classic ending. Even though
Mhm.
I think ultimately it was probably the correct call. And obviously a great game back and forth before that.
Yeah, that's what sucks is that like if they didn't call that penalty, the Chiefs would have just gone and kicked a field goal there. So it would have been they would have been 3 points up, and then Jalen Hurts would have got the ball back with like a minute 30 left, and
Yeah,
could have had an all-time classic Super Bowl finish, whether they score or don't score. But instead, you just
exactly.
got such a lousy ending where like they run the ball to the one, they slide, they knee it, time just runs down, they kick a 17-yard field goal or whatever it was.
And that's
Um,
game. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it really took a lot of the excitement out of it.
Yeah, and it was crazy because as someone who played cornerback for shit nearly a decade from middle school up into college, I gotta say, at first I thought the call was bullshit because, like, as a DB, you're allowed to rough up the guy a lot more, the receiver, in the first 5 yards, and
Mhm.
you're kind of allowed to like, not like allowed to, but like you're allowed to like get by with tugging a bit and like going at the jersey. And so at first I was like, wow, that was like a weak call, but at the end of the day, it's like he did kind of have him with the right arm, and he did kind of have the left arm. It had some jersey for sure on the back, so um, yeah, I don't think it was a bad call. Tough way to go, though. I would have loved to have seen Jalen Hurts be able to go down the field, and then really like the Chiefs get a chance to win it there on defense, or most likely scenario with how the game was going. The Eagles probably would have marched down, gotten a field goal. Both teams would have had a chance in overtime. I think
Mhm.
that would have been sick. Can't remember the
Yeah.
last time a Super Bowl went to overtime. Honestly, I
I,
don't know if
I
that's
think
ever
I
happened.
think Brady versus the Falcons, the Patriots versus the Falcons is the only one that's gone to overtime.
Oh, wow, I am an idiot. Not only in our lifetime, in recent memory, we have one go to
Well, that was
overtime.
the first one and the only one. So I'll give you a break
Okay,
there.
okay. I was just
Yeah.
glossing over that one. I was just glossing over that one. Yeah, but anyways, what a crazy game. We'll see how the Birds do next year. Eddie, is there anything else that you want to delve into for your past couple weeks?
Yeah, I know we want to get into your Hawaii story 'cause I know a lot went on down there. I guess then this past weekend for me, um, so I had another busy weekend. So I drove from New York to Bucknell. I got a rental car from LaGuardia Airport, drove from LaGuardia to Bucknell to watch my sister, who's a freshman at Bucknell, play club volleyball. Shout out to Bucknell women's club volleyball team. Unfortunately, two tough
Okay.
losses. We got to hang out with her, my dad, and my aunt who were there, and hang out in Lewisburg, PA. So that was good. And then from Lewisburg, after dinner, I drove to DC and stayed over with my buddy Ben. And we had a group of guys from Mount Lebanon who were down there for my buddy Paul, who went to high school with. He plays in the XFL for the Seattle Sea Dragons. And so they had a game Sunday night versus the DC Defenders. So Paul hooked us all up with tickets.
Nice.
We tailgated, went to the game. There was actually a lot of fans there. Like the DC fans were really into it. They were excited. The Seattle Sea Dragons had a big crowd. A lot of Pittsburgh guys on the team. The quarterback Ben DiNucci's a Pittsburgh guy. We were sitting with his family. Paul's obviously from Pittsburgh. We had a big Western PA contingency there. Unfortunately, it was a tough loss for the Sea Dragons. But for the first weekend of XFL football, it was fun. It was a good time, and glad I got to see everyone. So that was my weekend. Like I said, it's been busy for me, Langley. But I know it's been quite the time for you as well.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. I gotta ask one more question before we get into any of my stuff. How many fans do you think were at the DC Dragons game? This is Dragons, right? Compared to the Washington football team games. When you heard it was electric for the DC Dragons, I'm like, shit, I don't think you could say that about their NFL teams games.
Yeah, I bet there was probably. Well, so they play in the soccer stadium, Audi Field, I guess is what it's called. And I'd say that was probably like 50% full. So I don't know, maybe it's like a 20,000 seat stadium, so maybe 10,000 people were there. That's a guess. I don't really know. But what they did was weird. Like I said, there's only half the stadium full, and they were charging like $100 for any resale ticket on like Ticketmaster. That was the cheapest price you could get in, which doesn't really make sense to me.
Crazy.
Because we had some other friends who didn't have tickets who were thinking about going, but they couldn't find one for less than 100. Like, oh wow, must be like a packed crowd. And then the stadium was only half full. So like, I don't know why they did that. But otherwise, it was a good atmosphere there.
Interesting. That's a lot like UCLA football games at the Rose Bowl. It'll be like $200, and then, like you said, half the stadium's empty. But just because it's LA, they're like, screw it, we'll jack up the price.
Yeah, we'll just make things more expensive than they should be.
Yeah, just make things more supply and demand. Yeah, we don't do economics. It's $200.
They can pay for it.
Yeah, but anyways, I guess Ed, thank you for filling everyone in on your exciting ventures of late. I guess I will get going talking about some of my stuff that I've had going on. So, as you know, if any of our viewers who listened to our last podcast, I was recently told, along with most of my firm, that I was going to be getting laid off, which will be official as of 6 days from now. So, like most laid off people who need to get a new job soon, I went on vacation for a week. And I went to Hawaii with a couple of our fraternity brothers. Shout out to Sam and Tom, who we might have on the podcast later down the road. And essentially, it was actually a great deal. So our buddy Sam used to work at TripAdvisor, so he got really a free hotel for like 4 days in
Really?
Waikiki.
I didn't know you guys got that.
And my sister, for my 25th birthday, had given me some of her flight miles. So I was able to get my flights there for free. So I'm like, okay, shit. I can get travel comped, hotel comped for the most part, end up having to pay a little bit. Like, let's go to fucking Hawaii. Like, I've never been. And I never had a real vacation as an adult. So it was a great time. It went down pretty last minute, like pretty spontaneous. We're like, dude, screw it. Like, let's just go visit Tom and our friend James Kim in Hawaii, they're both RTC guys in college, deployed down there. I mean, great place to be deployed if you have to be somewhere for a few years. Shit, that's crazy. And so, yeah, flew down to Hawaii. Trying to think, I got back last Tuesday, and I flew down. I think like the Monday before that. Was down there for a week. Really interesting time. I gotta say, Honolulu. It was much bigger than I thought. It reminded me of like Miami. Honestly, when I got there, it's like holy shit! Like I feel like I'm like an adult spring break. It's kind of like the vibe I got when I went there. A little more laid back, not quite the electricity. Just got like the mountains and shit, like a scenic backdrop too. Otherwise, I was like, damn, dude, I feel like I'm like fucking Florida right now. And great time. Drinks are amazing. Obviously, did a lot of sitting and drinking on the beach. Did a good bit of hiking. And really nothing to complain about minus getting robbed, which, as it turns out, is a pretty prevalent thing in Honolulu. So, like good degenerates on vacation, my buddy Sam and I decided to get a little stoned and drive around to Oahu, which is the island that Honolulu's on, where we were staying. And we wanted to do some sightseeing. We wanted to check out all the different places. Like we did a ton of nature stuff when we were there. And so probably, I mean, it's like welcome to Hawaii. It's literally like our second day there. We wake up, um, really not too hard to find weed down there. Like it's pretty, it's decriminalized, I think, so it's pretty easy. Got stoned, took some edibles, went on a drive down the coast, and we had like this whole day planned to like go down the coast, see all these scenic sites and beaches, check it out, maybe do a hike. And literally the first place we go to this place called Polly Lookout right outside of Oahu. And we pull up, it's like this real like touristy spot, there's probably like 15, 20 other cars in the parking lot, right? It's like this beautiful, I guess like mountain, cliff, whatever you want to call it, and it like has a view of like the rainforest there in the mountain and the beach behind it. Just all in all, like really cool, beautiful spot. And so we roll up there, leave our crap in the car. I had like my wallet, some other things, and Sam's bag because I was in hiking clothes, right? So I didn't have pockets or anything. And then he had like his shoes, some clothes, other stuff in there as well. Locked our car, went to go take some pictures, check out the views for like 5 minutes. And it's broad daylight. There's people in the parking lot walking back and forth. Like it's like not by any means like it's a secluded area, but like there's a lot of people there. And then we walk back. I kid you not, it has not been more than 5 or 6 minutes. And the first thing I say to Sam, I'm like, dude, like, what kind of idiot broke a glass bottle right behind our car? Like, what a dumbass. And then, there's just shattered glass behind our car. And then we walk around and we're like, holy shit. And our entire driver's side window is smashed, just like clean smashed. And everything on the inside of the car is gone, just stolen. And we're just sitting there. And keep in mind, too, like, we had just taken edibles and like it's starting to kick in. So like,
Oh, dude, dude.
So we're sitting there stoned as shit. We're like, it takes us a second to process it. And we're like, holy shit, dude, like we just got robbed. And like we were literally gone for 5 minutes and we didn't see him or anything. And so then, and Sam's first reaction, like my first reaction is like, shit, I'm like checking to see what I had. I'm like, fuck, like they have like my wallet. So I gotta go call to cancel my cards. Like I'm trying to think like what else I have in there that I don't want them to get, right? And so I call, cancel my debit card, order a new one. Luckily, no charges on that. And this is literally like I'm doing this within 5-10 minutes of like getting back.
It's
Right?
incredible how like you weren't gone at all, and then in the amount
No,
of time, there's like all this happened, broken glass, all your shit stolen,
yeah,
like amazing.
it's crazy. So like yes, I'd say realistically 6 minutes from the time we parked and then walked to the lookout and they came back and were robbed. And
So
then
absurd.
after that 6 minutes, I'd say not more than 5 minutes later, probably even less, I'm like calling the credit card companies and my bank to cancel all my shit. Debit card, nothing on. I'm able to get it canceled. I'm on the phone with American Express, and there's already been a $500 charge on my card at Target. And while I'm on the phone with them, they're in the process of another like $400 transaction. And I was just sitting there like, holy, and I'm stoned too. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh my
And so
gosh.
then I'm sitting here on the phone with American Express, like just talking about getting my shit jacked. And then Sam's on the phone with the cops, calling the cops to come show up to like file a robbery claim or whatever report. And so then, so then luckily I'm able to cancel everything here, right? And American Express, like they're the ones that lose money, essentially your credit card company, and they just like reimburse you for it.
Mm.
But still crazy. I'm like 1,000, like literally within 15 minutes of us parking and leaving, $1,000 on my card, we've been robbed.
Dude, I'm thinking they must have gone and just bought like a Visa gift card or something. Like that's the only thing I could
Yeah,
think of. That just
like
like,
it
oh,
was
let's
so
put
quick.
500 bucks on it right there. Like
Yeah, it was
just
so
walk
quick.
in right away. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Like insane. Or they did something online as soon as they did it, which was crazy. And so then yeah, so then the cops show up and like we're telling them about it, just like idiots, right? Because it's me and Sam. And we're just like, yeah, dude, like we got robbed and shit. Like, um, I don't really know what happened, but like they got my bag, they got his wallet, and the cop was really cool. And like I think he could like kind of tell he's like these dudes are on vacation, they're a little out of it. And so he's like walking us through the process of like
Uh,
filing a report and just laughing, pretty much just laughing at us the whole time. Because like Sam and I are already totally goofy, and then when we're stoned, it's even
yeah, dude. I could if I could get like the body cam footage of you guys like talking to this cop, like that would go viral in and of itself. Like you two like,
truth, and
ooh.
it was so funny, and I'm sitting there, we're filling out the report, and we're like, because like we're just being idiots. We're consistently having to ask the guy, we're like, wait a minute, like, what are we putting in? And he's just like literally reading like verbatim, word for word, like what we need to write down to file like the report. And I'm looking over at Sam. I'm like, dude, like for like on his address, I don't know exactly what his home address is, but he has like, 123, like, whatever, and then the street name. I
Right.
was like, you forgot to put the whole city, state, zip code. Like you just put like a street name under the address. And I'm
Uh,
just like, holy shit, what are we doing? Oh, and it was windy as hell too. So like on top of like it was like a scene out of like the Three Stooges, literally. So on top of like
uh,
all this shit that's happening, like it's like 20-mile-per-hour winds, and our papers, like our report that we keep writing, just keeps like flying out over our heads. And
Whoa!
we look, it's just like it's like, officer, we've been robbed. Then he comes, he's like, all right, fill out this report. It's just like us two idiots, we're like running around, like needing to get shit repeated, running around, like chasing our like papers as they go away from the wind. And this cop is just like he's honestly like having a great time. He feels kind of bad for us, but also he's like literally laughing. Like he's like watching me literally like my paper flew away and chased my paper and just laughing his ass
Yeah.
off.
Because it's like his shit didn't get stolen, so he's like, oh, maybe I'll help these kids. Like,
Yeah, no, I
so
know.
he's like, okay, like I'll laugh with them. Like, who really cares, you know?
And it was, yeah, and it was so funny. Obviously, to cut to the chase, did not get anything back, but truth be told, I had another wallet, a new one that I just gotten. Good timing, actually. Um, that I hadn't started using yet. So just had to order a couple new cards, new driver's license, and I'm pretty much good to go. Um, luckily, I did not have any cash on me that day, so they didn't get any cash there or anything. So all in all, it could have been a lot worse, but was really, really funny. Just the experience. Oh, and then the fact too that after that, this was the hardest part. Well, in addition to the fact that we lost the weed because we had to chuck the weed before the cops got there. The hardest part was that I didn't have a license. Like I said, this was a week-long vacation, day two.
Oh, right, right,
Or
right.
like, how do I go out anywhere? Like, I can't drive the rental car. Like, I can't do anything. And
Yeah.
so I have to call my roommate to have him FedEx my passport to our hotel in Honolulu because I'm like, shit, like, am I gonna be able to fly back? Or like, am I just
Yeah.
stuck here? Like, and so that was the crazy thing. I was able to get that by Saturday, flew back on Monday. And
Wow.
so that ended up being all right. And then I had to like, literally, luckily, at least I think so, like, I look like I'm 21 now, It's not like
Mm,
I'm a sophomore, junior in college anymore, like, I'm 25 years old, so half the places I would go into wouldn't card me, and then the other
mm.
half of the places, like, we would just have to turn around, so I'd be like, "Dude, like, I don't know what to
Yeah.
tell you, like, I got my wallet stolen, and
Yeah.
that's that." And that was that experience. Fucking crazy. And then the next day, like two genius Ivy League grads, Sam's like, shit, dude, that was our weed for the whole trip. And he's like, and you threw it out in the trash can before the cops came. He's like, so we gotta go back. And so then we get in the car to go back the next day to the site so I can go look for our edibles, which we have like in this little bag in the trash can. And Sam has a video of me that he took from the car. I get out and there's there's this like really sweet, innocent looking Asian family right next to me in the car, like right next to me, like next to the trash can where I threw it out. And I just walk up, like we park, I get out like 10 seconds later, and I go to the trash can and just start digging around in the trash can. I see the mom looking at me, just like, oh my God. Like, what? this kid.
she's like hiding her kid's face.
She's like, yeah, she's like going like this, like the kid's.
Yeah.
He's like, don't look at that hobo, honey. I don't know what he's
As you're like head down in the garbage can, like feet hanging out at the end.
doing.
Like,
Literally, I'm like, and
uh,
they're like this, and then I'm like, shit, it's not here. So, and I'm like turning over like these people's like Chick-fil-A wrappers and just like gross garbage and stuff until I see it out of the corner of my eye. I see at the bottom, it's like half of this like tin of rice on it, and then the other half is like the packet is like visible for edibles. Then I go grab the packet of edibles and pull it out of the trash can. And Sam's recording this the entire time from the car, which I didn't even realize. And we're like all excited.
oh my god.
We're like all excited, like getting our weed out of the trash. And to make a long story
Dude.
short, we washed it off and it was great for the rest of the trip.
It worked great. There were no issues.
There are no issues. When people ask me, I can, you know how people say that sometimes they buy some trash weed? I can quite literally say that I have the trash weed.
The trash weed.
The literal trash weed.
Uh, dude, that's unbelievable. Just imagining you and Sam, like literally, there could be a whole like movie or like TV show about your guys like week in Hawaii.
No, I mean, it was literally like that scene was so funny. And the cop was such a chill, nice guy too. He thought it was hilarious, like just like our situation. But he was also like really nice and like helpful. He did everything he could to help us. Like, but that whole situation was just honestly like in hindsight, it's hysterical. It was a great time. It was like literally like the remake of like the Three Stooges movie, but in 2023.
Dude, it
Just like
literally sounds like
have to
it's
go through this.
it sounds just like Harold and Kumar go to White Castle, where it's like Langley and
Pretty much.
Smalls go to Hawaii. And
Yeah.
it's like you guys have all this shit happen to you, and like you're high the whole time. So like this shit happens, and then like you go back and you're digging through, and it just seems like one like wild roller coaster after another. You know,
It was crazy. It was crazy. But in all honesty, though, I don't know, Ed, have you ever been to Hawaii anywhere in
never
Hawaii?
been no.
Yeah, no, I'd never been either. Oahu was fucking beautiful.
Mm,
Such cool vibes, such a good time, minus that.
yeah.
Minus that. And honestly, that's like the highlight of the trip now that I look back on it, now that like nothing like really negative ended up happening as a result of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was such good vibes. It was crazy going down there. You know, seeing the beaches, it's like they've got the mountains, like literally like right next to the ocean going into it.
Mm,
And then you have people like we met up with another one of our friends down there, James Kim, who was they were all like playing spike ball, drinking on the beach. It was just like classic like vacation vibes. It was such a
yeah,
good time.
dude.
Highly
What
just
were
make
Tom
sure
and James?
anyone that goes, don't leave your crap in a car, even if you're gone for 30 seconds. Put it in the trunk so no one can see it.
They will find it. They
Yeah.
will access it. Dude, what were James and Tom saying? The military men. How do they feel about being down there?
The military men, I mean, like, well, if you have to be stationed somewhere, like, where the hell else would you want to be stationed? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So they like
yeah.
that. I mean, one of the things they told me, they're like, they feel, and like this makes sense, like, especially because they're both guys from the Northeast, like, they feel so disconnected from
Mm,
like everyone else because they're literally like, I'm in LA and I feel like that sometimes. Like they're a
mm,
whole half an ocean further, right? There's
yeah,
like a
yeah.
5 hour time difference. Like there's no one really out there other than like the other army people that through the program. So like
Mm,
that part's tough, but I mean I do think they like it. Like one of the things they both said, they're like, dude, it's just like it's so hard to be like pissed off or like annoyed about anything. Because
yeah,
every day you just wake up and it's like sunny, beautiful, like you're in paradise,
right.
and you're just like chilling in that sense. You know what I mean? And like it's not like in the Northeast, if you get back from like a 12-hour workday and then it's like 40 degrees and raining, you're just like, God damn, motherfucker. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like
I feel like that's something you've said before too, is about being in LA, where it's like
you did
you
your work
wake up.
today, you drive around, it's beautiful on the way. Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
I
like
think
so
we I think we got there was some
disconnected a little bit.
disconnect there. But what I'll say is that I feel like, yeah, you've said that about living in LA, right? That like you wake up and it's beautiful. It's kind of hard to be in a shitty mood.
Yeah, no, exactly, exactly. And there's stuff to that for sure. Like people need certain amount of like sunlight and stuff per day. So that was one of the things that yeah, it is similar to LA, like living here. But that was one of the things that they said about Hawaii. I think all in all they really liked it. Tom was actually there. So one of our buddies, Tom, who was down there only for 6 weeks actually, as opposed to he wasn't like fully deployed. He was doing an externship with the veterinary school because he's trying to be a vet and he's going to be like an army vet. So he got to basically do like half a semester down in Oahu, which is really cool. Our other friend was stationed down there for a full 3 years, which is crazy. Like he was like totally different vibes because like he had to have like, his crew of like other army friends down there. Otherwise, like you'd be insane.
Mm.
Just like on an eye. It'd be like Tom Hanks in Castaway, right? Like you're just like Wilson if there's no one else there to hang out with for 3 years. But yeah, dude, they're both doing good. They both really liked it. We went to our buddy James's, actually one of his friends' places to watch the Super Bowl with just like a bunch of random army people. And that was the coup de grace of the trip too, was that Sam and I thought we were like doing a good thing, like being nice when we brought the edibles to like share with people for the Super Bowl. And they're like, dude, we're all in the military. We can drug test
Dude, I love at like just thinking that that's part of the story too, where you guys have to go back into the garbage because you're like, well, we need to bring something to the party today. Like,
the military.
yeah. Then they get there and they're all like, what the fuck? Like, we can't take this.
Yeah. Are you sure
guys-
you don't want to fail your drug test with the military for this trash can weed?
Dude, that's incredible. Oh my gosh.
I know. That was the trip for the most part. Outside of that, a lot of hikes, a lot of just chilling. Watched LeBron James break the all-time scoring record at Maui Brewing Company, which was something. Not at all where I thought I would watch its history.
True.
But cool vibes at that. And that was pretty much the trip. And we got 30 seconds here left in our podcast. Anything else you want to discuss before next week?
Shout out to Pitt Panthers going to the NCAA tournament. Fingers crossed, but they should rank those boys. That's my parting shot. How about you? How are you closing us out?
Let's see. What else do we have here? What else do we have here? What else do we have here? I don't know. I'm just going to repeat that until the time runs out. What are we going to talk about? We'll figure something out